All right, right back with another video. This is what I read in February. I just did my haul video. Now I'm going to talk about the books that I read in February. It's going to be much different than my last one. If you watched January, if you didn't, go watch it, please. If you did, this will be much different. So I actually started off, I read a lot of classics last month, and I had a great time, but I wanted to just back up, go a little easier on myself, and read something just quick and easy. Oh, maybe not quick, but I started off with a thriller. I don't read a whole lot of thrillers. Very rarely, actually. This is The Chestnut Man by Soren Sveistrup. And it was really good. I guess it's a show. I've never seen the show. But I did watch The Killing. It says creator of The Killing, which is a show me and my wife watched together and really enjoyed it. So this was his first novel. So he makes shows and he makes novels. The problem that I have with thrillers is I usually enjoy reading them, but then when I'm done reading them, I feel kind of empty inside. I don't know. I did really enjoy it. It just, there's not a lot of substance to really think about. That's the problem when you read a lot of classics and then you come and try to read like a thriller like this. It's definitely a page turner. For, what is this, 600? It's actually only 500 pages. And it's got those short chapters, so you're just blowing through this thing. It's one of those books where every chapter has like a, it makes you want to keep going. It has like a twist or a reveal or something. This is one of those books where you're just trying to find a killer the whole time. You don't know who the killer is. Maybe you could figure it out. I didn't until it was revealed. I don't know how people figured that out early. It doesn't seem like there was really any seeds planted. Maybe there were. But really enjoyed it. Man, there's a scene in here where a police officer is interrogating someone or just questioning them about the case, and this person is intentionally withholding information that could help the investigation, and they're only doing so to save their butt from their boss or whatever. And it's so frustrating because you, as the reader, know that they know something that would really help the investigation, but they hold back just because they're lazy or because they just don't want to be bothered. And that is so frustrating. And I'm sure that happens in real life all the time. And that is really sad. Anyway, the killer is really interesting, and that's The Chestnut Man. So moving right along, I actually wanted to pick up some more science fiction. So I picked up Ted Chiang's The Stories of Your Life and Others. So I'd seen the movie Arrival. Really, really liked the movie. Figured out that it was a short story, that it was in this collection. So I picked it up. I've had this book for a long time. I finally just decided to pick it up and read it. And absolutely loved it. I didn't love every single story in here, but the 3, 4, 5 that I really liked were definitely worth reading. There's just a couple that maybe went over my head a little bit is all. So let's look and see what the stories are. So you've got Tower of Babylon. It's about a society of people that are trying to build a tower to heaven with a twist at the end. Really cool story, really fascinating. I love like religious themes. Like I love religious horror or, just like biblical themes and things. And I'm not a religious person at all. I just think that all that is very interesting. The next one is Understand. It's kind of like Flowers for Algernon. It's about a man who gets a science treatment, a medical scientific treatment that makes him really smart. And then he becomes like too smart. And it turns out bad. Pretty cool. Not my favorite story in the collection, but pretty cool. Division by Zero was about a woman who has a mathematical problem that she's trying to solve, and it like drives her crazy. It was interesting. It went over my head, I think, a little bit. Ted Chiang is clearly a very intelligent guy. These are some pretty deep stories going on here. But the next one, Stories of Your Life. That is what Arrival was based on. Holy crap, man. Stories of Your Life. What a beautiful short story. Absolutely the best one in here for me. I couldn't put it down, man. It was so good. It was pretty much just like the movie, if you've seen the movie, but a little bit different. And it's a shame because there's kind of like a twist. And if you've seen the movie, you know the twist. So I already knew it. It didn't take away my enjoyment, but I think I would have been blown away when I realized what was happening. Dude, if you haven't read any Ted Chiang, definitely pick this book up for that one alone. 72 Letters. Again, that wasn't really my favorite. It was about a guy who creates automatons, like a robot or a creation that can sort of do things on its own, like think on its own. It was okay. It wasn't the best. Evolution of Human Science was like a one-page little story. Hell is the Absence of God. Definitely my second favorite story in the whole book. So Stories of Your Life. Hell is the Absence of God. It's about a world where you can see angels and they come down and perform miracles. When they're here on earth performing these miracles, people are affected positively and negatively. It's such a cool story. Again, like the first book, The Tower of Babylon, I just love like religious horror. I love that. And that story made me think a lot. Really enjoyed it. I want to read it again. It made me want to go read like the Bible, you know, like it was just really cool. Hell is the Absence of God. Man, the ending is absolutely devastating and beautiful at the same time. It's really deep, really deep. Ted Chiang, I actually liked him so much. I'm definitely going to pick up his next collection of short stories. Exhalation, I think is what it's called. Definitely be picking it up. Liking What You See, a documentary. It's about another like medical scientific treatment where you can get I guess it's like a chip that you get, and it lets you see everyone's face neutrally. So you can't tell whether someone is attractive or not. Very interesting idea and very interesting thoughts. How you treat people differently if you think they're attractive or not. You might treat me differently if I was a really hot guy versus an ugly guy, and you would. But if you took this procedure, you would just see a neutral face. You wouldn't find me attractive or unattractive. Everyone kind of looks the same. Very, very interesting. Again, some really deep stuff going on here. And highly recommend it. Highly, highly recommend Ted Chiang. So I was really high on science fiction after reading that, and I decided to finally pick up and finish Saga. So this is book 3, and this is a series that actually left on a cliffhanger right here, and they went on hiatus for a long time. I think it's back and going again. I know it is back and going again. I haven't read anything after this. Maybe if they do another hardcover, I'll get number 4. The first 3 hardcovers, man, they were really good. This is like one of the most beloved comics of the modern age. And I can see why. It's kind of like explicit, not safe for work Star Wars. Really, really cool artwork. Again, like when I did Berserk, I'm kind of afraid to even open this because you're guaranteed to come across something absolutely inappropriate. But here is just a little taste of the art. I won't spoil anything. If you haven't read Saga, I highly recommend it. It's really, really good. Really fast read. You can absolutely blaze through these. And yeah, I mean, I might as well just go read it again because you can read it so fast. It's not dense at all. I've read Brian K. Vaughan before. I read Why the Last Man, and I enjoyed it. So, yeah, he's got a pretty good track record for me. I don't know that I love this as much as everyone seems to love it. I think a lot of it is just sort of like shock value, which isn't really my thing. But the art is absolutely gorgeous. Fiona Staples, I don't know if she's done anything else, but her artwork is so beautiful. I love the covers to these books. Look, that's one of our main characters there. She lost a tooth. So, Saga, highly recommend it. I kept another graphic novel after I read some more Ed Brubaker. So, like I said last month, I read Gotham Central, and it was by Ed Brubaker. Absolutely loved it. 5 stars. Couldn't put it down. So I decided I would read another Reckless book. This is the 5th Reckless book. I've read all 5. They're all so good. Highly recommend these crime, detective, noir, thriller books. Every one of them is just good, man. It's hard to put down. They're really good. They're really fun. They're really fast reads. I love these little hardcovers. I think it would be cool if they came out in one big, giant, oversized collection. But I have all 5 of these hardcovers. Happy to have them. Highly recommend Reckless. Criminal, Reckless. Man, Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, they just make awesome comics. So I was still sort of high on the Ted Chiang science fiction. I thought about that book a lot after I read it. So I decided to continue some more science fiction. So a few months ago, I read Red Rising by Pierce Brown. And I kept hearing that Golden Sun is even better than the first book. So finally picked up Golden Sun, read it, really liked it. I could see why you think it's better than the first book. It's just, it's crazy. It's hard to put down. It's paced really well. It is going to be really hard not to just pick up the 3rd book, which I do have up there on the shelf, because this book ends on a crazy cliffhanger. This is kind of like the Empire Strikes Back of novels, It's like you definitely got to keep going to find out what is going on. But yeah, man, I really like Pierce Brown. I'm happy to keep reading more of these. I'm enjoying living in this horrible dystopian world that Pierce Brown's created. I really like Darrow, the main character here, and there's a few moments that just made me go, what the hell? Like, there's some pretty shocking stuff in here. Yeah, brutal, absolutely brutal. Really liked it. I think I gave this 5 stars, maybe 4 stars. The problem when you read something that you really like is then everything else is sort of, you're trying not to compare it to it, So just trying to think about this by itself without the other things I've read. And yeah, really enjoyed it. Highly recommend. I'm trying to get my wife to read Red Rising. I think she would like it. This is really good if you have a teenager or something that is kind of ready to step up from YA into adult science fiction fantasy. This would be a good place to start, especially Red Rising, the first book. So, after I read the Chestnut Man, I thought I would continue with my Stephen King read. Actually, well, I'll grab this. It's right here. So I started reading Rose Madder. This is the next book. I haven't made it very far yet. Rose Madder is going to be the next book in my Stephen King read through, but I actually just went ahead and skipped everything and read Holly when it came out. I know Holly came out a few months ago, but I had been reading it. I've been reading it just a few chapters here and there, and I just happened to finish it in February. And yeah, I enjoyed it. This one was pretty controversial. I've seen a lot of people not like this book very much because of all the COVID stuff. He talks about masks and are you vaccinated and all that crap a lot in the book. And it is weird. That doesn't bother me that much. I don't really care. It's a book of, a fiction author. you just you have to know that there are people like that in the world. Now, of course, I train at the gym. I see hundreds of people every month. I've never ever had anybody ever ask me if I was vaccinated. I've never had anybody be weird about wearing a mask. When you had to wear a mask to go to the store, I just wore one. Who cares? Just quit being a weirdo. Just put the mask on. What is? I kind of like it. It's like hiding. It's like you feel like you're a ninja. You're hiding in public. Whatever. So all the mask stuff didn't bother me. Beyond that, it is just a book about a couple of old people that are serial killers, basically. And it's not a spoiler because you know that in like the first page of the book. So it's actually kind of interesting because I had read The Outsider, and that was a Holly Gibney book as well. And I also read If It Bleeds, which is another Holly Gibney book. So I felt comfortable reading this, you know, knowing a bit about Holly. Let's take If It Bleeds, for example. I loved it. I loved If It Bleeds because Holly realizes there's something weird about this guy that she's seeing, and she doesn't know what, and she gets a weird vibe. So especially The Outsider, actually. So when you're reading The Outsider and If It Bleeds, you don't know the mystery. You're trying to figure it out with Holly. But in this book, you know it the whole time. So it kind of takes away the need to keep turning the pages because you already know who the killers are. So you're just waiting for Holly to catch up the whole time. So it wasn't bad. I didn't hate it, but it was, you know, nothing specially there. It's like a 3-star book for me personally. But I still love Stephen King, and most of his work still really works for me. So they've got the new movie coming out soon, and they just dropped the trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine. And it made me want to pick up Wolverine again. I know I just read some. I decided to do Old Man Logan. So I read Old Man Logan and then followed it up with Old Man Hawkeye. So everybody knows Old Man Logan. This is a very famous book. Everyone knows this book. It's beloved for a reason. It's really good. It's really fun. It is like a Hollywood cinematic movie on page. So fun. I don't ever hear anybody talk about Old Man Hawkeye. That's a shame because it's really good. It is really, really good. This is just a prequel to Old Man Wolverine. So read Wolverine first, then read this, and it ties in a lot of the things that are referenced in the first book, and it shows you how that went down. Highly recommend both. This was an earlier work from Marco Cicchetto. He is the author, he is the artist. The author is Ethan Sachs. But the art in this book is awesome. I like the art better in this book than in the Wolverine book, personally. I just really like the guy's art. Look, here's his Bullseye. The art throughout this thing is really, really good, and there's a reason why he's blowing up right now. He's doing Daredevil. He's doing the Ultimate Spider-Man, I believe. Anyway, he's going to be huge. The last book I read, and I saved a big one for last, I continued with my Cormac McCarthy read-through. All the Pretty Horses. 5 stars. Easily 5 stars. Cormac McCarthy just continues to just blow me away. Man, this book was amazing. I really, really related to our main character here, Cole, John Grady Cole. He's just a quiet, polite cowboy. He just, I just really, really enjoyed reading everything with him. This is a very famous novel. It has a very famous opening line, and I can see why. It's very, very beautiful. I'll read it real quick. I don't usually do this. This is All the Pretty Horses. The candle flame and the image of the candle flame caught in the pier glass, twisted and righted when he entered the hall, and again when he shut the door. It keeps going. The whole first page is beautiful. But just that right there, doesn't that sort of just give you a sense of just when the candle's burning, open a door and it kind of waves and then it goes straight again. It's just, that's the way his writing is. It is just so easy to picture what he's talking about because he's so beautifully descriptive. So this is a series. There's 3 books in this. It is The Crossing and then The Cities of the Plains. So I'll be reading The Crossing next. Very excited, of course. If you watched this long, thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one.